Okay, more people joining. Morning, everybody, or good afternoon, just about. More joining us still, but we'll make a start in terms of introductions and to ourselves and to the session. A welcome from me, first of all, Chris Lee at RCU. I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications here at RCU, and I've got Richard with us as well, our Managing Director, who's sitting in the background. You may be able to see him, and he will hopefully monitor any kind of questions and chat that might come through and help out with any particular questions you might have as we go through the session. It's nice to see so many of you on the call. So the purpose of today's session really is for us to provide an introduction to the InsightU platform, which is an apprenticeship insight data platform that we've designed specifically for you and for the HE apprenticeship sector to show how universities can build a clearer evidence base for apprenticeship planning and curriculum development and future growth decisions. As a very quick introduction to RCU as well, some of you may have spoken with us and heard of us. For others who haven't, we've worked in the post-16 education and skills base for over 30 years now, providing research and insight and data analysis to support and inform planning and strategy and decision making. We work really closely with colleges and universities and other sector bodies and organisations. We are also a data partner for both the Association of Colleges and for UVAC. We started working with UVAC and their members about 3 years ago, I think now, with the development of the HERA platform, which many of you may be familiar with. That's a free membership platform made available to UVAC members free of charge through that service. And I suppose the differences between HERA and what we're going to see today in terms of InsightU is that HERA provides kind of a full picture of national insight into higher and degree apprenticeships, including benchmarking, to help you understand kind of the wider trends across the market and whether quality of provision your own organisation compares with others around you as well. Whereas InsightU has been designed and recently developed even further and advanced further to provide a lot more focused and detailed analysis on your local apprenticeship market. It explores your position, your reach, your market share, alongside some really sort of interesting detail about competition, who the other providers are, analysis of their provision, their quality, and exploring using some quite unique little tools about apprenticeship demand and growth opportunities as well. So we'll cover all of that within the session. I'll hope to have everything covered and done within around 40 minutes, leaving some time at the end as well for questions. So please feel free to use the Q&A box or the chat box to type anything in, any comments, any questions, and we'll try and pick up on those as we go through, or we'll leave things to the end if it's not pressing. So again, today's session really is about showing how InsightU can help your organisation, your university build a clear evidence base and picture for apprenticeship planning, development, and future opportunities. I will go into an overall picture of how to use InsightU, but just as a very quick introduction, these are the kind of the key takeaways that we want to get out of today in terms of what you could use InsightU for. And there's information in here which will really help you dig into the detail to understand your position within the apprenticeship market at a local, regional, and national level, depending on where your kind of recruitment and focus is, exploring your market share, who the competition is in and around your area, what the delivery profile looks like in comparison to your own apprenticeship delivery. And again, there's opportunity and analysis tools in the InsightU platform to explore growth opportunities, alongside positioning yourself in amongst other providers to see where you fit. Where are the sectors and standards which are emerging as strong in terms of volume and quality, or where competition is lower or higher? We can also explore how apprenticeship delivery maps against the sort of occupation and skills priorities, which is all really there to give you a sort of detailed picture of how the apprenticeship market looks and fits in and around your organisation to help inform your own strategy and development. Hopefully everybody can now see an InsightU apprenticeship insight tool. This is the front end, it's a demo version. As you can see, what we've done here is we've split up the insight in terms of different sections that you can explore. There's local insights, which gives information, if we go into that, about your provision as an organisation, with filters that you can look at to explore how that provision looks across different regions, districts, and nationally as well. So in this example, we can see our organisation number of starts in the most recent year, how that compares to previous years, whether our trend is growing or in decline, our quality of provision. We scroll down, and a very quick snapshot as to what our provision looks like in terms of what are the standards that we offer, in what volume, what level are they in growing? And there's actually quick links here as well if we wanted to find out information about a particular standard of interest. We could click on that link and that will take us through to a page all about that particular apprenticeship standard, and we'll come back to that shortly as well. Going back to where we were, beyond our local region, if we wanted to look at the national picture, we can very quickly do that. So actually for our organisation, we get the majority of our apprenticeship delivery within a single region, but we can see we do have a national reach. We are going far beyond the kind of local region too. In terms of things like market share, positioning our college in amongst the wider market, if you wanted an overall view of that, we can go into our separate page here. And again, there are 5 years of data plus some in-year data as well, which gives us the ability to position our university in terms of volume and market share against all other providers delivering apprenticeships around us. The focus on this particular tool is a higher level, so anything at level 4 and above. You've got the facility in here if you want to restrict that analysis, to say I'm purely interested in level 6 or degree apprenticeships, or if you are exploring other opportunities at level 4 and 5, you can do that as well. So we restrict the analysis. We can look at a particular region, district, LSIP area, nationally, and explore our provision. And the key figures here show us a very quick glance the total volume of, in this case, level 6 apprenticeship starts within London, and how our university figures compare to that. So we've got 8% of all level 6 apprenticeships across London, which is quite a good figure for a single university to have. Comparing ourselves against all HEIs, sort of in terms of excluding our own, there's 44% of delivery for other universities, independent training providers, 30%, and colleges and other types of providers, a smaller position in that market. Below that, we can start to explore who the largest providers are. So there's a table here showing you the top 10, ranking those by volume of starts, achievements, and you can even see their market share as well. So in this area at level 6, down near the bottom of the table, there's a range of independent training providers and other universities with a range of sort of 2.5 to 3.5% of the market collected on their own. And at the top, we can see that goes up to almost 8% for London South Bank University in this case. Further down, again, we're still in terms of looking at our position and our market share across all the different technical routes that we could be delivering apprenticeships in. We can see at the bottom, if we click on a column heading, let's look at all providers. The largest provision in our region is health and science. We have a small amount of provision on that sector in that technical route. We have 43 starts last year, which is 7% of the market. We've got a much stronger position within construction, with 36% of all provision in construction, almost 500 starts last year across other providers. And if we click on our example university as a heading, we can rank and sort our data that way as well. So these are the sectors that we are in, and what is our current position and market share. At the bottom right there's an indication also to the largest standards in this area at level 6. And we can come to that in a little bit more detail later on and see a full, complete picture of all apprenticeship standards and filter it in many different ways. So of course we can explore national, other regional data in there as well, but obviously as we go wider, our market share will dilute because of the provision across other providers. If we want to focus our attention on a single sector or technical route, we can do that. So our market share by subject allows us then again to filter by the route that we're interested in. In this case, it's looking at construction, which is one of our big areas. We've got 34% of the market. And we can see who we're competing against by broad brush. So other HEIs, over a little over a quarter of the higher construction apprenticeships in this region are with other HEIs. A smaller proportion are independent training providers. And again, down at the bottom, there's a list here of who the largest providers are, the top 10 ranked highest to lowest. And on the left-hand side, it gives us an indication as to our market share by level as well. So although we've got 34%, we've actually got a really strong percentage, almost 2/3 of all provision at level 6. And further down, it shows us the most popular apprenticeships within this route. So within London, within construction, these are the largest standards being delivered with some key indicators. What level are they? What's the maximum funding rate? How many starts are there? What's our market share and the typical duration period? So there's lots of interesting data there. And again, if we wanted to click on one of the links here, that'll take us to a separate page on Skills England, where it gives us lots more information about that particular standard as well. And at the bottom, we can also compare our sort of geographical reach. So this is a map of our market share. If we were to zoom in a little bit, we can see that we've got sort of hotspots, darker colours, and the key indicates what that colour range stands for around the London region and the districts. So within Bromley, we've got roughly 3% of all apprenticeships and apprentices in Bromley. On the right-hand side, we can see a little tool there that shows us in that district, other HEIs collectively attract around 16% of apprentices in Bromley, independent training providers, 73%. So it gives you a clear indication as to where you're positioned compared to other providers. And if we wanted to, if we zoom out, we can actually then see a view of the market share broken down by sector, by provider route, sorry. So for universities, HEIs, if we click on that as a selector and a filter, it then redraws the map, doing the kind of hot spots and cold spots in terms of their collective market share and presence compared to private training providers, for instance. So where there is more significant competition with other universities or independent training providers in your own geography, wherever that may be. So beyond your local insight, we can start to explore other things. So we can look into the geography and start to review apprenticeship delivery trends by different geographical areas. We could look at opportunity analysis, which we'll have a quick poke into. In the opportunity analysis, there's some really interesting tools. These bubble charts are really powerful to display. In the first instance, this is your market position of all apprenticeship providers. And we've color-coded them so you can see universities, HEIs, as green, independent training providers as red. So if you really want to focus where you're positioned or who the sort of university market is, because that's your key kind of audience, or if you want to focus more on sort of independent training providers or others as well, you can see visually who they are and where they fit. Using the filters across the top, you can select the route of interest. So that's defaulted on construction here in this example within the London region across all level 4 provision. And what we can see, there are probably two providers that stand out in terms of volume of delivery. Our example university at the top with a little over 300 starts. And if we go on the axis on the left, that is the achievement rate of that provider. So the higher up the chart they are, the better the quality, and the further to the right, the more starts they have. So below them, we've got the University College of Estate Management. Still a strong number of apprenticeships, but the quality of provision at that provider is slightly lower. And then we come back a little bit further, we can see quality starts to increase, but volume of delivery across these range of universities is a little bit lower. So really good to position yourselves if you show on that in and amongst other providers. And of course, we can explore different sectors. So it might be that we're looking at digital. It might be that we're interested at a national level or a different region. We can certainly look into that. Could be looking in the northwest of England, for example, and who are the providers delivering digital apprenticeships in the northwest of England at level 4, or let's say restrict that to level 6, and that can really hone down our sort of our analysis now. So level 6 across the northwest. Who's the largest? Manchester Metropolitan University. Excellent achievement rates, the largest volume of starts at level 6, followed by BPP University and a range of other independent training providers there, and the quality differs between each one of those. If we were to then say we're interested in exploring who that provider is and finding out a little bit more detail about them, we could pop into the table below. This is showing the data in the bubble chart above, but we can also click on the link to that provider. So if I was interested, because Manchester Metropolitan University is the largest provider of digital apprenticeships across the northwest of England, finding more about that provider, we can go to a page, a provider lookup page, which is all about them. So it shows us, for example, over the past 5 years, how many starts have they had across all of their delivery. In the latest year, that equates to almost 1,200. They've got a really strong achievement rate of 85.5%. Predominantly in the northwest, but with some provision across most regions as well. We can see the volume in other areas. And at the bottom of this sort of page here, it gives you a list of the apprenticeship delivery that they offer. And again, linked to the volume of starts. So this is currently sorted from largest to lowest on the number of starts for 2024-25. We could look at change as well. So the Chartered Manager degree, level 6, has grown significantly over the past several years. They also do this Digital and Technology Solutions Professional, which is an interesting, so they've seen grown a decent number of achievements. So if I clicked on Digital and Technology Solutions Professional, that'll take me seamlessly through to a page all about that particular apprenticeship standard as well. So again, exploring key information such as how many starts are there at a national level, how has that changed over the past 5 years, what does the quality look like in terms of achievement rate data for that. A breakdown of starts by age band. So in this case, we're looking at around 38.5% are aged at 25 or above. A large proportion here are delivered by universities or independent training providers, 45% roughly, HEIs, 43% private training providers. We can see the number of providers delivering this provision by year. So how competitive a landscape is it? Obviously, the more providers there are, then it becomes a little bit more competitive. And then again, a breakdown by region, maximum funding rates, a link there to sort of Skills England information about it. And at the bottom, a list of the largest providers. So for this particular apprenticeship standard, these are the largest providers. And again, we can quick link back to those if you wanted to explore them in a bit more detail. So there's loads of ways that we can start to explore the data there. And that's just looking from one level to identify kind of the position of different apprenticeship providers within the market that we're focused on by sector, by geography, by level. Other ways we could explore that data, we might be looking to say, well, let's have a look at the largest standards in a particular route, in a particular area. So in our standard analysis, we can pick out the route that we're interested in. Again, construction in this example in London across all provider types. And on the right-hand side, showing the largest by volume is a level 6 chartered surveyor degree. Below that, there are some other high volume, but they are level 4, the blue colour there. So there's level 4 construction site supervisor, construction quantity surveying technician. So they could be opportunities to explore if you're looking at provision beyond level 6 in terms of the popularity. It's slightly more competitive in terms of the number of providers operating in that area. It gives you a link there. So there's 84 providers doing that particular standard compared to just 10 doing the chartered surveying degree apprenticeship standard in London. And again, when we go down, we'll see a full list of all the opportunities and standards shown and represented in that bubble chart at the top with links through to those. So if we wanted to explore the level 4 quantity surveying technician, we can do that. And have volumes gone up, which we can see they have quite clearly over the past 5 years. Who's delivering that type of provision? Still largely HEIs. In what geographical areas? What's the funding rates? And by individual provider. So interesting there, you've got Anglia Ruskin, University of Westminster. So at the very top of the table are a couple of universities, Leeds College of Building third, and again, London South Bank University appear 4th place here. We can also look at a map of delivery. So if we wanted to explore where particular standards are being delivered in volume, there's a full map, national level, which we can do that. This is defaulted onto the chartered surveying degree apprenticeship. Or the colour code on there. So there are a few sort of darker hotspots around the area as we go into the kind of the North Yorkshire area. Alternatively, we could look at different opportunities. Go into digital, look at business analyst or data analyst. Gives you a different view of kind of the volume that we can start to see and explore. So in terms of volume, things like business analyst, far more starts in that across the region in different districts as well. So loads of information available through that opportunity analysis page. There's a profile of delivery by monthly starts and achievement rates. This is across all providers. If we wanted to compare our provision and our kind of business model of delivery model, we can do that. We can split the screen. Let's say we're going to find our university. And just by very quick analysis there, we can see that on the left-hand side, there's a slightly wider kind of roll-on, roll-off profile where, yes, predominantly the intake is in sort of September period, but there's still quite a large proportion in sort of February, March, April as well. Whereas our organisation really focus heavily on September with a little bit going on in maybe January, February, and then it's quite flatlined for the rest of the year. So there's maybe more opportunities if we wanted to align ourselves with other universities or the sector overall. Wider than that, we can start to explore information about the sort of the competitiveness of the market. So there's this whole section about competitor analysis, and this can start from a full table across all provision types, different geographical areas. So you can choose where you're interested to see that data. Let's say we're interested in the northwest of England again. And we're really interested in HEIs to start off with. Who are the largest providers across the northwest of England? How many apprentices do they have? Have that number grown or declined over the past 5 years? What's their quality like? We can see that in the table. If we're interested in finding out more about them, such as the University of Lancashire, again, go to the page. It shows us who that provider is, where they operate, and what they deliver. And there's also a provider map, which allows us to, that's defaulted there to the London South Bank University, so we can see their provision focusing around their region. Or let's change that to go to Lancashire. If we're interested in that particular provider, we can do that as well. So where are they predominantly operating? And if this was in your region and your locality, you get a very clear picture of how far and wide their reach is. There's also, if we go into geographic analysis, different ways we can review the data. So this is taking the geography and the sort of the local, regional, or national as our footprint to say, okay, what's happening at a national level, or what's happening within our particular region or LSIP area. Let's say we're focused on the northwest of England, across all apprenticeships routes, across everything at level 4+. At the top level, we can see how many starts were last year, and then start to compare that in terms of how has that grown or changed over the past 5 years. Little indicators on the right-hand side show us very briefly that HEIs have grown their apprenticeship market across the northwest of England by 6% over the past 5 years. That compares to 81% growth at independent training providers, the kind of the red line on that trend chart that we can see. Universities have got 23% of all provision in that region as well. It's a strong position. Below that, the number of providers operating in that region, broken down by type. So we can see the green there represents the university sector, red for independent training providers, and then the total. So a little over 500 different providers operating in the higher degree apprenticeship market space in the northwest of England last year. Starts by age band, by year. So we've seen a lot of growth at 25+. Numbers up also, that kind of 19 to 24 category, but not by quite as much. And these are the largest standards operating in that area. Other ways to see that the same kind of analysis would be using the kind of the tree map structure. So for one region in London, we can see at a very quick glance the largest routes across London, things like business and administration, digital, legal, finance and accounting, and then probably fourth is health and science. If we wanted to focus more on the kind of the pathways and the clusters and the standards within these routes, if we click on one of them of interest, say digital, what we'll be able to see there below hand is the 3 different pathways within digital, dominated by digital business services. But at the bottom, you've got a list of the largest standards with links to the sort of the unique information about that standard. So in this area, data analyst, business analyst, digital and technology solutions professionals are 3 largest standards in that particular technical route. And the providers delivering that provision by largest is Multiverse, then you've got QA, Cambridge Spark Limited. So a few universities on there. And again, if we wanted to find out more information about them, we can click on the link and go to all that information, that powerful information about that provider. Go back to where we were. We've got that's broken down by volume of starts. If we go back up, we can explore other areas. If we're focused on a different geographical region of interest, we could do that. Let's say we're interested in somewhere in Hull and East Yorkshire. Click on apply. and that will redraw. And actually what you see is already there's regional disparity. So between London and Hull and East Yorkshire, while business and admin is still the biggest block here, we can see that digital and health, for example, have switched positions. So digital was the second largest, now it's about fourth or fifth. Health was fourth or fifth, and now it's second in this area. So every region and locality will have a slightly different focus. One way of exploring that as well is a sort of map of participation of apprenticeships here. So this is a participation rate, so the number of apprenticeship starts per 100,000 of the local population. And on the right-hand side, put the key on there, but on the right-hand side, you've got all the different routes that you could be interested in. So across the whole apprenticeship market, we can see where there's sort of particular hotspots. The reds are showing where there's really strong participation, and then the kind of the colder blues is where that's fallen off. But just interestingly, across different routes as well. So we can see if we looked at health and science. Health and science, there are particular areas around the country. We've got kind of that sort of Yorkshire and North Yorkshire. We've got the kind of the East Midlands, East of England, Southwest region. But then in and around London and the sort of Midlands area, the participation in health and science is lower. If we compare that to something like digital, it's almost the opposite picture. So again, a really strong participation rate in areas from around London, going through the kind of West Midlands all the way up into the northwest of England, whereas that seems to have cooled down in the northeast and North Yorkshire areas. Also broken down by different geographies is information about kind of learner characteristics. It's difficult to pull the data down into much more kind of focused analysis by sector or by route, but particularly by geography. There's some headline data here to give you an idea of the volume of apprenticeships by level, by sex, by other characteristics like LLDD or ethnicity. And then to take the analysis a little bit further, if we're purely focused on exploring provision across different routes and different standards, there's a section all about that. Again, really visual, top-level visual data. So there's a subject summary page. You can choose within that page what you want to focus on. So that's defaulted in this example to construction. Within construction, it gives you top-level information about the volume of starts nationally, growth over the past 5 years with trends in there, breakdown by age, achievement rates, breakdown by provider type and the number of providers operating in that sector, regional information in terms of volumes of starts, and again, a table at the bottom. Within that route, these are the largest standards, and we can see the volumes year on year, the achievement rates, what level they are, and quick links through to those pages to find out a little bit more information. There's also maps where we can explore that provision by district across the whole country. Let's say we're interested in construction. Where are the kind of hotspots for construction? Or could be digital, health and science. We can flick through all of that detail. Or if you're interested in particular standards, of course, we can link to that from all those other sections. But if you just very quickly want to focus on the volume of starts and delivery across all apprenticeship standards, there's some a simple table in here with unique filters for year for the last 5 years. It also includes in-year data, as we'll see in many places. So Q2 for 2025-26 is kind of the latest update, or a quick link to just what apprenticeship standards are brand new in 2025-26. We can do that as well within the region that we're focused on, or we could go nationally or more local, particular routes that we might be interested in. Again, let's say we're looking at digital, anything from level 4 up. That will redraw that table, show you where that sort of the dominant standards in terms of volumes. We can look at growth. We can go to information about that particular standard in the summary, data analyst at the top of the table, how the figures have changed over many years. So loads of information, all sort of brought into hopefully a way that you can visualize and interpret the data in a much more insightful and intuitive way to help with your own kind of planning and decision making. I think the final section in here, there's still more to come, but there's information in here which breaks down the view of sort of occupations. So there's a link through to an occupation search tool. So it could be, let's say, I'm interested in programmers, software developers as an occupation, and search for that from our filter, and that'll give us some top level data at a national level in terms of the number of people employed in that occupation, how that market has changed over the past few years. Also information about kind of learner projections, sort of labour market projections, sorry, in terms of annual growth rates. So total requirement year on year, or an estimated growth of just over 4% year on year nationally, due to growth in the sector and also replacement demand as people leave through retirement. Provision by region, and also some key stats about full-time, part-time, male, female, average earnings in that occupation as well. Maps where you can find, where are the concentrations of people in particular occupational routes. And then lots more information about the local area. So it could be that you're interested in the qualification profile of a local area or the deprivation profile of a local area, which might be really useful information to just set the scene if you're having to create reports or report against how you're representing the needs of the local community. There's some detail in here that you can do that for as well. So how deprived is the local area? Where are those pockets of deprivation? What does your recruitment profile look like in comparison to that area, which we can do that comparison and split screen to see your recruitment profile, or by qualification attainment level. Lots of provision in different areas, how we can view that. So huge amounts of data, and hopefully that be a really useful overview of the tool, and does give you a kind of a clear picture of the benefits of InsightU as an additional and complementary tool to sort of the national benchmarking view of HERA, which you may have access to already. I said I'd try and get everything done in about 40 minutes, and I think we're on 38 minutes, so just in time. We can have a quick flick through maybe at some of the questions. So I can see they're all come through as anonymous attendees, so that's no problem. So in terms of geography and region analysis, can we narrow down to a specific district such as Oxford? Yes, you can. The sort of the example here doesn't include districts in all places, but it will be in the platform. Obviously, you've seen that kind of analysis shown on the maps, and it'll be in the filters in terms of district level data as well. And data source, I mean, there's multiple. The primary data source, of course, is the kind of national ILR data. Statistical releases from DFE, but that's kind of also linking through to QAR data and other kind of local intelligence from ONS and other parts of the world, which we can sort of really start to interpret and bring together into one platform, linking all of those pieces of information up together. Is the product included in the UVAC HERA license? It isn't. No, HERA is obviously a free platform to UVAC members, and InsightU is a separate kind of more commercial product as an add-on almost to that. So we are making that available to UVAC members, but if you're interested, please let us know. I'll send out an email to everybody that's attended after the session this afternoon with a copy of the recording link and some information slides as well, which you might find useful. And of course, if you've got any questions at that point and you want to, if you're interested in a kind of follow-up discussion, finding out a little bit more information about it, or having kind of more of a one-to-one session, please let us know. We're happy to arrange that. And we can also send you through a quote as well if you're interested in exploring the costs. Is the data based on delivery postcode or learner home postcode? It is learner home postcode in all these cases. We've looked at the kind of the postcode of the individual. Another question about the link to here or there, so hopefully we've covered that. So any more comments? Have you seen any other comments coming in, Richard? Hopefully that was a useful session for everybody.
Yeah, I think you've covered everything. No, thank you, Chris, for that. The tool is updated, isn't it, Chris, several times a year. So when new data sets come in, so it'd be like an annual subscription, and then you'll get an update. And when there's new data available, we're really excited that I think soon the government will be releasing more detail about LSIP priority sectors. And when the data comes available, it will be automatically part of that subscription. And we've got a new supply demand tool to it, which will be incorporated in new course, Chris, haven't we? Which will be part of the tool, which we didn't show today, but will be part of the InsightU package linking sort of supplier provision to employer demand as well. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can almost see a bit of a vision of that. I think there is an indication of that in here. I'm not sure it's fully come through in all parts yet, but it's an indication really to, in a particular geographical location, what is the concentration of people employment and the volume of people employment in particular fields and sectors. So we can filter that down by a kind of a structure of technical routes and standards. And that joins then the apprenticeship to that occupation. And on the right-hand side is the delivery of apprenticeships, so the number of starts in that region compared to the number of jobs. And then some kind of analysis in terms of, how popular or how heavily concentrated is that employment opportunity locally compared to the skills provision available. So it's a tool really envisaged to help if you've got multiple options, using the matrices there to sort of set them against each other and pick out which ones are probably more of an option for you in terms of achievability and benefit and value. So yeah, no apologies, missed that bit, but there's all that kind of data in there as well within that opportunity analysis section.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. As I say, there'll be regular updates of the tool throughout the year. We also will provide any support that you might require. So, if there's something you don't understand with the tool when you've got it, we're always on the end of a phone, and particularly via UVAC members, we're just keen to support to make the data available in an easy to use format, just point and click, no particular IT skills, nothing is needed to set up on your network. We'll just give you username and passwords, and then you away you go. And there's lots of things we haven't talked about there, Chris, in terms of you can bookmark things, you can print pages, you can save them till later. Create PDFs from the documents, etc., isn't it, Chris? So various user.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll do some more sessions on it as well in the future, but possibly maybe the first instance is if you really want to have a more detailed look, we can come and do that for you. But yes, all the pages have lots of facility to share pages with information. You can bookmark pages, download data. We can download the data into Excel, review in a big screen, so that it's very interactive and usable.
Great, thank you very much, Chris. That was great. Say any questions, please email us if you'd like a quote, if you'd like to discuss it further, if you want a webinar with your team, let us know, and we'd be really happy to help. Thanks, Chris.
Brilliant. Thanks, Richard. Thanks, everybody, as well. I'll send you through some information this afternoon, and then if you're interested, we'll take it from there. Okay, cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.